It began like any other Saturday morning in the quiet suburbs of Mesa, Arizona. The sun filtered gently through the blinds. Sprinklers hissed in steady rhythm outside, and the air carried the faint scent of trimmed hedges and lawn clippings. Kids zipped down the street on bikes, their helmets askew, and dogs barked in distant backyards. Everything was calm. Too calm for what was about to unfold. Elena Brooks, 34, stepped into her kitchen, still wearing the slippers she'd owned since college. Her hair was pulled into a messy bun and the smell of brewing coffee clung to her hoodie. She glanced at her phone and opened the delivery app. Delivered at 8:47 a.m., it read. That package should have been sitting right on the doormat, a small, cold-packed box, clearly labeled. She'd even set a reminder the night before, "Don't forget Jake's insulin." But when Elena opened the door, there was nothing. No box, no note, just a spotless porch and the hum of distant lawnmowers. She stepped out, scanned both directions, checked behind the flower pot and beneath the bench. Maybe the delivery driver tucked it out of sight. Maybe the wind knocked it loose. But her stomach was already curling. She refreshed the app. Still said delivered. Address matched. Timestamp was exact. Panic began to rise, sharp and uninvited. Jake, her 10-year-old son, had type 1 diabetes. Diagnosed at age 5. He wasn't just insulin dependent. He was insulin critical. They had timed everything perfectly, running out the previous night, scheduled to start a new vial that morning. Every dose was life and death. One missed injection could send his blood sugar into chaos. 2, and they'd be racing to the ER. There was no backup, no margin for error. Elena's fingers trembled as she checked the mailbox. Empty. Her heart dropped. She bolted back inside and called the pharmacy. Closed until Monday. She tried the emergency line, but insurance refused an override until the new billing cycle. She searched nearby hospitals. Most didn't even stock pediatric insulin unless the patient was admitted. It was like the ground beneath her had liquefied and she was sinking in slow-motion quicksand. Jake was still upstairs, playing with his Legos in his Star Wars pajamas, totally unaware that his life was unraveling beneath him. Elena swallowed the panic for his sake, but it was already pressing up her spine. And something in her gut whispered this wasn't a mistake. Someone took it. She sank onto the couch and opened her laptop. Her hands were moving faster than her thoughts. She clicked into their Ring camera feed and rewound to just after 8:47 a.m. Her breath caught. There. 8:49 a.m. 2 minutes after the package was dropped. She hit play. A figure stepped into frame. At first, she couldn't make out who it was. But then the woman stepped closer. Her face filled the lens, framed in soft morning light. Diane Wilcox, president of the neighborhood HOA. The same Diane who sent out notices if trash cans were left out too long or if holiday lights were left up past January 2nd. The woman who once fined a neighbor for using non-HOA-approved mulch. She wore her usual uniform, a pink polo, tennis skirt, spotless white sneakers. Her silver bob barely moved as she leaned down and picked up the package. Diane squinted at the label. Her brow furrowed. Then shockingly gave a little nod, as if confirming something to herself. And she walked away, just like that. No hesitation. No knock on the door. No note. Just walked off the porch like the box belonged to her. Elena froze. Her hand flew to her mouth. Her heartbeat roared in her ears. She stared, unblinking, as the woman casually stole life-saving medication off her porch. Then her phone buzzed. A text from her neighbor, Janelle. Hey, pretty sure I just saw Diane throwing away a medical-looking package in the HOA dumpster. Said something really weird. Elena called instantly. Janelle picked up, voice breathless, been out walking her golden retriever. She had this little white box, Janelle said. Open the HOA bin with that key she has, tossed it in. I asked what it was and she said, and I swear can't let people smuggle drugs into the neighborhood. Better safe than sorry. Smuggle drugs? Elena's skin went ice cold. This wasn't just stupidity. This wasn't an accident. This was malice. Disguised as authority. Wrapped in prejudice. The insulin, the only thing standing between Jake and a medical emergency, was now sitting in a dumpster because Diane Wilcox thought she was guarding the gates of suburbia from those people. Elena looked up the stairs. Jake was still giggling at some cartoon, utterly unaware. That's when she cracked. No more politeness. No more waiting. She called every emergency contact she had. Pharmacies, clinics, doctors out of state. Everyone said the same thing: no override. No refills. You'll have to wait. One even said, "You should have ordered sooner." She had. She did everything right. This wasn't her failure. It was Diane's. By 3 p.m., Jake's energy was fading. He hadn't had insulin since the previous night. He lay on the couch now, pale and flushed, barely watching the screen. "Mom," he whispered. "I feel floaty." Elena didn't hesitate. She scooped him up and raced to the hospital. By the time they arrived, Jake was slipping into diabetic ketoacidosis. Nurses moved fast. IVs, tests, machines. Elena sat in the corner, gripping his tiny hand while strangers worked to save him. She wanted to scream, break something, demand answers from the universe. Instead, she sat still. The only sound was the heart monitor and her own silent desperation. Later, after Jake was stabilized barely, Elena stared at her phone. Her fingers hovered over the ring footage again. Then, without thinking, she opened Facebook. She typed, "Please read." And then everything poured out. "My name is Elena Brooks. I live in Mesa, Arizona. Yesterday morning, my son's insulin was stolen off our porch. We later found out our HOA president, Diane Wilcox, took the package and threw it away. My son is 10. He has type 1 diabetes. We ended up in the ER. He could have died. This isn't just about us. It's about people who think they're above consequences. Please watch this video. Please share. I just want my son to live." She hit post. Then she shared it to the local moms group, to a parenting forum for families of children with diabetes, to a neighborhood Facebook thread. Started small. A few likes, some shocked emojis, a couple of supportive comments. Then someone reposted it to Reddit. Then Twitter. By 4 a.m. it had exploded. Hashtags were trending: justice for Jake, insulin not optional, HOA fail. People weren't just upset. They were furious. Not just parents. Nurses, journalists, lawyers, even ex-HOA members chimed in. It was cruel. It was dangerous. It was illegal. Screenshots spread. Someone found Diane's real estate listings, her Facebook page, her HOA records. News stations DM'd Elena nonstop. Reporters asked for interviews. The HOA inbox was flooded. And for the first time in 48 hours, Elena felt something strange. Hope. By Monday, her phone rang with a call she never expected. The Department of Health and Human Services. A federal investigator introduced himself. He'd seen the video. Read the timeline. Reviewed the hospital intake. "Mrs. Brooks," he said, "we're taking this very seriously. What happened to your son isn't just unethical, it's criminal." He explained, tampering with federally protected medical shipments, especially when it results in harm, is a federal offense. Diane hadn't just made a poor decision. She'd broken multiple laws. Mail tampering, medical interference, child endangerment, abuse of authority. And she would face consequences. By that afternoon, Diane Wilcox was under federal investigation. Witness statements were collected, footage archived, charges prepared. HOA board members scrambled. Some resigned. Others issued clumsy statements trying to distance themselves. But it was too late. Diane had become a symbol. Her arrest wasn't dramatic, no cuffs, no sirens. Just a quiet knock on her door and a polite request to come downtown. But by noon, her mugshot hit the news. Gone was the polished neighborhood queen. The booking photo showed a tired, pale woman. Hair pulled back, face blank. Just another defendant. Within 24 hours, she was officially removed from the HOA. No fanfare. Just a cold sentence. Diane Wilcox is no longer affiliated with this board. And then more stories emerged. A single mom posted footage of Diane taking a package labeled EpiPen. A retired couple recalled their missing blood pressure monitor. A black father shared a note Diane had left questioning the frequency of deliveries to his home. Diane hadn't just crossed the line once. She'd been crossing it for years. But Jake? Jake pulled through. Slowly. Steadily. He stabilized, sat up, smiled again. He asked for pancakes. Elena cried for 10 minutes straight in the hospital bathroom, this time from relief. And the world? The world responded. People sent messages, gifts, handwritten letters. A 9-year-old from Colorado wrote, "I have diabetes too. Your son is my hero." A stranger overnight 2 insulin vials. Hospitals received care packages. Nurses offered free support. One friend launched a GoFundMe. It exploded. More than enough for Jake's care. Enough to help other families, 2 families who'd quietly rationed insulin, who'd suffered in silence. And through it all, Elena kept thinking, this didn't start with a viral video. It started with a stolen box and a quiet decision to speak. She didn't just move on. She moved forward. With help from advocacy groups and attorneys, Elena founded a nonprofit, Open Access Families. Its mission, protect medical access from prejudice, bureaucracy, and overreach. She spoke at town halls, helped draft legislation, educated communities about medical discrimination. Some called her just a mom on a mission. They had no idea how powerful that could be. Jake's back at school now, happy, healthy. He knows something unfair happened. He knows people fought for him. He stacks the letters he received from other kids, and his favorite drawing sits on his nightstand. 2 kids in superhero capes, both with insulin pumps. He calls them the Real Justice League. The headlines have moved on. But in one house on a quiet Arizona street, a mom and her son still carry the story forward, not in fear, but in strength. Because this time, when justice knocked, it didn't leave. It stayed, and it built something better.